Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Leading Our Own Way. We're up to part 2 with Danny Shannon. If part 1 was the honest truth of what addiction can steal, part 2 is the moment where everything shifts. The decision, the fight. Sorry, that word was the decision, by the way. The decision, the fight, and the how on earth am I still even here? Miracle that Danny describes so powerfully. Danny takes us to Christmas Day 2009, a crossroads moment where he could have gone one way and disappeared, or go back to rehab and start again. And what follows is a story of recovery built on community, connection, gratitude, and the kind of self-accountability that doesn't come from motivation quotes, it comes from lived experience. We also dig deeper into the Encapsulator. Well, we did that really mainly in part 1 at the beginning, so make sure you go back and listen to that part, but we touch on it again. And why, though, recording messages to your future self can be more than a tool, it can be a lifeline. All right, let's definitely get back into part 2 with Danny Shannon and myself. Press follow and don't miss another beat. Here's Danny and myself. Before we dive in, I want to give a big massive shout out to our now new proud sponsor, Eshu Skincare, a brand that truly aligns with Leading Our Own Way. This Australian-born company is dedicated to keeping skincare simple, effective, and straightforward. They've made waves in the US, even landed in Macy's and over 300 stores, and now they're back with a renewed focus on healthy skin and real results. If you want authentic skincare that fits your lifestyle, check them out in the show notes. Thanks to Eshu Skincare for supporting real stories and mental fitness on Leading Our Own Way. And if you're interested in sponsoring like Eshu Skincare, drop us a message. We'd love to connect.
Alcohol, marijuana, and nitric oxide. The first time I got drunk and stoned, I got smashed. I got drunk, and I was on these nangs, the nitric oxide, putrid stuff. Anyone using them things, I send you all my love because it's just killing a million brain cells each hit. But I I just loved it, bro. So I don't even blame it on anything of my childhood, but the minute I picked up drugs, I never stopped. I became an animal over about 6 months, and 6 months later, probably 12 months later, I was injecting heroin, and that's the day my life changed forever. At 15, I had my first shot of heroin. I know it's hectic. I was in this little dingy little flat in Cabramatta, and the drug dealer Wok, I'll never forget him. I actually went on to do a couple of years prison with him. He was squatting down on the floor with the Vietnamese squat. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but they do this the way they sit. And he was injecting me with heroin. And I remember thinking that day, probably I don't want to do this. It was peer pressure, just to be clear. It wasn't really. I didn't plan to do that day, but a mate of mine wanted to, and sure enough, I'm having a shot. And mate, up until that time, I dabbled with everything. So I say cocaine, pot, alcohol, trips, speed, magic mushrooms. I hadn't gone downhill until that day. That was the beginning of the end, mate. From the first time I tried heroin, I never missed a day for the next 17, 18 years. It was and look, there was times I was in prison. Lots of times I was in prison. I wasn't using heroin, but I was on the methadone. I got on the methadone at 21, and I got on the methadone. If you didn't know, methadone is basically a government prescribed heroin. The idea is you'll get on it for 6 months and have a better quality of life and come off it. I don't know anyone that actually works for, but
Yeah.
I got stuck on the methadone for 13 years. So at 21, I got on that, and I was stoned constantly on this government form of heroin for 13 years. But yeah, mate, it got messy real quick. By 16, I was in jail. I was in boys' homes. By 18, I was in big boys' prison. By 21, I was on the methadone program. Then I spent the majority, of the next 10 years in prison. Lots of rock bottoms, mate. Putrid. I was shooting up with dirty needles in the back of flats in Cabramatta. I just had no regard for my life, I just did not care. The way I summed up life was, all right, look, it's a shit go. I'm hooked on heroin. this is the life of being dealt. Just give it your best nudge, and just get. I didn't. I had no dreams. I had no hopes. I didn't want to grow up to be anything. I just wanted. To change the way I feel. I just wanted to get stoned.
Did that impact your relationships with your parents or with your
Oh
friends at
my God
school?
bless. So my dad, fuck, I don't know what it was like to be in my dad's head, but my dad was very old school. His dad, I'm sure, never said "I love you." He's Greek, right? My dad's Greek, so um, all I know about my dad is I called him Tony from the time I could talk. He asked me to call him Tony. I never called him
Oh,
Dad. He never said I love you. And I say this stuff because this stuff's quite important for
yeah,
attachment for a child to grow up with love and support and understanding. Um, I love you, Dad. Being guided in the right direction. These are all contributing factors to addiction. I would suggest.
absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
No excuse, maybe, but it's fucking pretty much guaranteed. But so my dad never knew any of that stuff. So my dad used to visit me in jail. My dad was a legend. Like he used to visit me in jail. He would bring substances in for me. He'd do whatever I want. Like so, he never judged me. My dad, strangely enough, our whole relationship will never close, but he never said, "Danny, you fucking little asshole, you've done this." He was just like, I probably created this monster. Just let it go. My mum, bless her, my mum went through hell, mate. Like I
Mm.
know as a parent, today, and also I've had loved ones who have been hooked on heroin. Oh, mate, it's the most painful. And I am pretty extreme with feelings too. Like I'm a super sensitive guy, but I can't imagine the hell I put my mum through. There's a film out there by SBS Insight where they interviewed my mum and my family. It's pretty horrific. My mum said in that film, and I know this is probably a common thing. People might be shocked, but she said that there were times that she wished that I wasn't even here. She didn't say she wished I was dead, but there was times that she just wished I didn't have to suffer going through that. But as an addict, I never felt really like I was suffering. I had those couple of rock bottoms, but all I cared about was the getting and using more drugs. So I was driven by the obsession and compulsion to get stoned. So the sadness, the madness, all those down times was really all I cared about was how I was going to get stoned. But mate, the loved ones are the true victims of
Yeah,
addiction. They're the ones who are at home thinking, is he dead? Is he in the gutter? Has he been bashed? Has he been arrested? Is he hungry? Mate, they are the true victims of addiction.
yeah,
So yeah, mum went through hell. My dad probably went through hell, but he never spoke about it.
yeah, yeah. So you said you spent a good time between 18 and 28 in jail. What contributed you to go into jail? Was it the drugs contributing you to go to?
Yeah,
Was it crime? Was it what happened for you
yeah.
to end
All
up in
just
jail?
for the record, all petty crimes, and I guess I'm very fortunate. When I say petty crimes, it wasn't that petty. I mean, stolen cars, breaking and enters, high speed police pursuits, um, just yeah, that kind of stuff.
I
Um,
can't imagine you doing that.
Yeah, people say that's crazy. Bro,
Yeah.
take a look at my fucking pictures of me when I was using. Like
Oh, I
you
have.
imagine, mate, I would do anything to get on. I was very fortunate that I don't know, I never needed to go any further than those crimes, but I never hurt anyone, so I've never been charged with assault, which is a beautiful claim. I'm actually this big, gentle giant, and I am a pretty big fella, but mate, when I was using, I was 60 kilos. When I got clean in 2009, I weighed 60, like 2 kilos, like ring and wet. Today I'm 100 and fucking 5, which is,
Wow.
yeah,
60.
almost
Yeah,
double
wow.
the fucking weight.
I mean, I'm 80, so 60 would be skinnier than me.
Yeah, man. Well, but yeah, it's hard for me to really comprehend that statement. I hear it all the time. People say, Danny, I can't imagine you using, but I never forget where I come from. Like, even though it's so long, it's been 16 years, and I've had an incredible life. Like I said, I don't regret my using days, but I remember the desperation, mate. I was driven. I remember, like, walking like across broken glass to get stoned. Like not literally, but almost
Yeah.
literally. Like I remember definitely the desperation, the times that here's just a couple of some of the lows. Like I was living in this squat, right? This homeless squat, this house, with probably 10 other junkies. I'm gonna say junkies because we were all fucking you couldn't trust me with anything, and I couldn't trust any of them. But I remember every single morning at that time, we're on a bit of a good wicket. We'd get this drug dealer. He'd rock in about 5:30 while I was on a good wicket, and I'd purchase, let's say, a gram of heroin, and I'd have me hit. I had this my son's mum, Michelle, bless her. We would be sitting on the front couch on this balcony. This squat stunk, right? There was no bathrooms. It was, I won't go. It was the most disgusting thing in the world. But I remember sitting on that balcony stoned and then watching people walk to work like with their briefcases or in their business suits. And I remember thinking, you poor people, look at you guys. It's so fucked up to think. I used to feel sorry for you people having to go to work and look at you go, and here I am like flying. You know?
Yeah.
Crazy, bro. It brings a tear to my eye because how delusional was I, you know?
They would have thought the same if they saw you, right?
Oh, they would have been disgusted at me, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
do you? I mean, I'm sensing I already know the answer to this question because of the beauty that you bring and the kindness that comes from your heart. But when you see people like your previous self,
yeah.
you obviously you don't feel disgusted. I'm assuming. But what do you feel?
Man, I'm speaking to a guy, and I speak to people all over the world every day. But there's this beautiful dude. He's somewhere in the UK at the moment. I'd say he's Scottish because he's a bit hard to understand. But he's talking about he's a bad gambler, right? And by the way, gambling is just as fucking bad as heroin, right?
Yeah.
But he's a bad gambler. He's living in his car, right? He makes good money, but he spends all of his money on gambling. So and he's destitute. He's hungry. He can't even fucking eat because he's too busy gambling and drinking alcohol. And man, I feel, like I said to him, bro, like I'm so sorry you're going through this, you know. And this is generally how I feel for everyone. Okay, I don't I don't like I don't get affected by them. Like it doesn't hurt me physically, but I feel this love and compassion for them because I know what it's like to be in that position, you know. And on the other side of that foot too, this might sound a little bit cold, but people even that I'm working with for say a year who choose to pick up and they're back overdosed in hospital, like even them. It's weird, man. I've become so used to this space that it doesn't hurt me. Like I don't feel hurt that you relapse. You know, I'm someone who you've done this to me. Like fuck. Like I actually resent people that carry on like that. Like if you're working with addicts and you feel all fucking emotional about them relapsing, I don't know. I don't get like that. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I've lost 100 people dead. At least 100 people since I've been clean. Because I was in the 12-step fellowship, I'm involved with so many people who get clean and then they pick up again and then they die. 99 of them would have been from heroin. I guess you become a little bit desensitized, but it's not that my feelings and love and compassion isn't desensitized. It's just the way that what you do affects me no longer has any power over me, you know?
Yeah. So for you to help these people, I'm guessing these types of people don't. I'm stereotyping, but I'm assuming I'm right that they don't really have the money to pay you to support them. How do you?
I support everyone for free, man. Generally,
Do you?
So, all right. So there's a couple of offerings I do have every Wednesday night, which is tonight. I run the Hour of Power. I run like about 30 different subjects: acts of kindness, values, affirmations, connections, check-in solutions, budgeting, anxiety, affirmations, meditation, grief and loss. I've got a man, and every one of those subjects I just rattled off really quickly. Basically, we spend an hour. My whole philosophy of group, I mentioned all those subjects, and every group is about a subject, but my whole philosophy is nothing too serious. We spend an hour together. I share one tool that will assist you to live your best life. Most importantly, I want you to walk away feeling validated and heard and have a sense of community. And the power of community and bringing these people together is really where it's at. It's got nothing to... Of course, what I'm teaching is important because I hear day in, day out that people use the tools that I've taught them on a daily basis. But the power is sharing our stories, in a safe space.
Why we're here, I guess.
So that group does cost. It's $100 a month, right? So, and over the years, I got to admit, there's lots of people's subscriptions fail, and I keep them in the group for some time. But so I do offer that, and oh yeah, man, but just so you know, honestly, hand on my heart, I probably spend, I don't know, 5 hours a day responding. I don't know, maybe hours a day responding to people, just sharing little resources. I love answering messages, man. I don't ever text, but I get a message and I just go, you know what, I can't imagine how you feel. I'm so sorry that you're going through that. You asked what worked for me. Well, for me, I went to detox, I went to rehab, I practiced the 12-step fellowship. I want you to know that, I've been there. I know I don't know exactly how you're feeling, but I want you to know I care. If I can help in any way, please, just stuff like that.
I love it. I love it.
And people repeatedly say, Danny, I can't believe you messaged me back. Like you. And I also get so many messages every day saying, Danny, I'm 6 days clean, or I'm 2 years clean. Thank you so much for sharing your story. So it's like it's a never-ending fucking cycle. It's beautiful, bro.
Yeah, no, I love that. Absolutely amazing, Danny. Absolutely fantastic. I want to talk about a particular part of your life. I want to get on to 2009, Christmas Day. But before we go there, I saw in a documentary, and we did share it in the pre-chat, so I'm assuming it's okay to talk about it. And if it's not, that's cool too. But you were in jail a few times, but you escaped from jail.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so that was on the 6th of February, 2001.
2001.
Is that what you just said, or did you say 2009?
No, I said I want to talk about Christmas Day 2009, where it changed forever, because I think that's a pivotal part.
On the 6th of February 2001, I did scale a 24-foot barrel fence. Mate, I was attending this religious event in the jail, and by the way, I used to go there because I had good coffee and biscuits, and when you're on the methadone, and a high dose of methadone, I was always had the munchies, but not to take away, but literally that's why I was there. And of course I'm looking for some kind of hope. But at the end of that group, it was the 6th of February, and it was my son's mum's birthday. And I remember I rang her on the phone. I've been organising this, I've been orchestrating this for some time, and I said to her, hey, Michelle, I said, if I could come home tonight, I said, would that be okay? It's like I wanted her permission, And I can just imagine she's rolling her eyes. Yeah, Danny, sure. Andy, she had a lot of money of mine. Well, I had a big pile of cash stashed on the outside. And you can imagine that money and her out there doing whatever just used to itch at me. It's like I just had to get out, mate. And anyway, that day at the end of the Kairos program, I managed to duck out the back while everybody was inside holding hands, singing Kumbaya, whatever they were doing. I ducked out the back and scaled this fence. Now, there was one spot in this entire jail that the big barrel, which is impossible to get over, but it met another barrel. So one of them had to lean the other way. And I thought, I reckon I can get up there, mate. At the time, I weighed 65 kilos. I was quite agile. I was young. I was 26, I think. I did manage to get these garbage bin handles, and I just fucking clawed my way up the fence like Spider-Man, and I managed to get up on top of the barrel. I'm in the middle of the jail still, but so there's I got about 100 meters on walking along this barrel to get out. Razor wire. I got spotted up on the fence by one of the officers. I could just imagine him doing a perimeter search. It's 8:30 at night, and he sees a fucking inmate up on the fence. It must have been adrenaline for him. He's straight on the radio, calls the squad, which is the MEU, which is the Metropolitan Enforcement Unit. It's like the jail police out the front. So the chase is on. Boom. He's on the. I'm like, holy fuck! And I've just had to run through razor wire, cut my legs to pieces, and jumped off this big fence, 24 foot is a big fucking leap. And I landed on my arm from my shoulder to my hand was black. I'm running down Holker Street towards Parramatta River. At the top of the street by now, there's the squad. I can see torches. I can hear the fucking dog squad coming. I'm jumping a couple of fences with one arm, and I dive into Parramatta River. Bleeding, okay, bull shark infested river. As I'm swimming across the river, Pole Air, the police helicopter's on its way, the big fucking spotlight. Water police is on their way up the river. And I managed to make it to the other side of the river. Keep in mind, bro, it was 100 meters in width. It's a big river. It's pitch black. My adrenaline is fucking pumping.
Just taking a very quick break to thank our sponsor, SU Skincare. If you haven't heard of them, SU Skincare started right here in Australia, using Australian ingredients to make skincare straightforward and accessible, especially for men who want results without the fuss. Their journey took them all the way to the US, where they were featured in Macy's and over 300 stores. Now they're back with a fresh approach, focusing on healthy skin and authenticity for everyone. I'm proud to have SU Skincare as a sponsor on Leading Our Own Way. See the show notes for their website and to see how you can keep your skin healthy and confident. And if you're interested in sponsoring like SU Skincare, drop us a message. We'd love to hear from you. Now, right back to the episode.
I get to the other side of the river and I'm in mud up to my neck. So there's these big sludge, like fully mud up to my neck. I can feel all these roots underneath the mud ripping apart my body more and more because they were kind of spiky. But I'm like G.I. Joe, bro. Nobody can see me because I'm black. Like I'm in this mud. So the water police by then they're just there. They're like 20 meters away from me for big spotlight moving like this. The helicopters above me, bro, they couldn't see me because I was like some army superstar, and I managed to get away, bro. I managed to I come up on Parramatta Speedway probably 2 hours later. In this old demolition graveyard before these smashed up cars. I'll never forget. I then crossed James Roost Highway, which is like an eight lane highway, like frog. It was like ducking and weaving traffic. It was raining, and it was like the rain started to wash away my sins because the mud was getting cleansed by the rain, and by the time the rain had washed all the mud off, this taxi driver pulled over and said, "Do you need a lift?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And I got in the cab. I was bleeding, but he couldn't see that necessarily. Michelle had my money ready, and I pulled up out the front of her house. I remember just whistling to her. She come out like, "What the fuck?" I said, "Get in." And about half an hour later, the cops raided her house, my mum's house, my dad's house. And mate, I was off. I was on my way to Perth. I booked a plane ticket under an alias, me and her. Yeah, there's so much more to that story. I was on methadone. So it's the stupidest thing on earth to escape on 120 mils of methadone. I started abusing this home-baked heroin in Perth because it's all I could get my hands on. And 6 days later on Valentine's Day, I say this is such a romantic story. I got dragged out by the poolside naked beside the pool and bashed and stomped by probably 7 or 8 police. I was resisting, like I kind of invoked.
In Perth?
Yeah, in Perth. I got to Perth.
So the police caught you in Perth?
Yeah, they did.
Where were you, in a hotel or resort?
Yeah, I was in a hotel. 5 a.m. the door got kicked in, and I just got dragged out by the pool because I leapt out being a dickhead. Of course, like I was, and they kind of dragged me out by the pool naked. I remember everyone coming out of the hotels. It's this big police operation. Here's Danny getting fucking bashed by the poolside. And then chucked into the Perth watch house for a few days. Then they extradited me back to.
How did they even find you in Perth, man?
Oh, bro, because I'm on the methadone, and she was also on the methadone, and she was pregnant with my son at the time, so she had to get her dose, and I couldn't obviously, but she had to get her dose, and that was it. They linked it all up. And actually, I remember thinking, it's a bit delusional, but I thought my warrant won't carry interstate, I'll be sweet. But New South Wales coppers were happy to come It was Sydney coppers that got me, Bankstown police that travelled to Perth and executed the warrant and got me.
What a journey! Oh my
It's a pretty
lord!
cool story. I tell that story with quite a bit of excitement and passion. I've told it many times, but that's literally how it happened. I guess the way I just described it's quite exciting. But man, there is newspaper clippings out there that talk about the water police, Polair, me escaping. Yeah, it all happened, right? It's all facts.
Crazy. All right, Christmas Day 2009, life changed forever for the positive.
Yeah, mate. I mentioned earlier I had 49 attempts at rehabilitation. You know, between the ages of 15. Well, I probably didn't try and get clean until 16. I remember coming out of prison at the boys' home and trying to go to some detox, but I tried many, many, many times. I was in my very last rehab, bro. The place was called Gleep House, and it's actually the place I worked at for the next 10 years. I got a job there when I was 2.5 years clean, but I
Amazing.
I went home on Christmas Day for a family visit, and I didn't want to go, to be honest, because I don't know if anyone else can relate to this, but I was so full of shame and guilt. Imagine being 60 days only clean, feeling raw, I fucking hated myself. I hated everything around me. I was miserable. Talk about that scale that we spoke about earlier. We didn't get to that, but at that point, I would have been like a 1. I hated everything. I was having a bit of a laugh, but this day, um, I went home and I I got off the train at Cabramatta on my way home on Christmas Day to get on. Like, so it's the insanity. Like I had, it's like I had no choice. It's like the beast took. And anyway, Cabramatta apparently on Christmas Day in 2009, the Vietnamese community didn't want to sell heroin, and I couldn't get on. They're probably celebrating Christmas or whatever. And my mum's ringing me saying, "Danny, where are you?" And I thought, "Fuck, all right, I'm coming." I got in a cab. I landed at my mum's house, and I sat around the Christmas table that day with 15 family members whom I had hurt, stolen, robbed, every single one of them. Like the shame and guilt was so heavy. I left there that day just defeated. I thought I can't do this, and I knew where I could get on for sure. King's Cross. I decided I'm going to buy some heroin. I'm going to buy some cocaine. Which I had money because, crazy enough, my family had given me money at Christmas, and there's always a way. I always got stoned. Anyway, I got to Town Hall Station. I was in rehab, by the way. They let me go home on day leave. I got to Town Hall Station. To my right was King's Cross. I knew I'm going to do this. I'm going to get on the coke. I'm going to get on the heroin. And that day, man, it was the turning point. It was the day my life changed forever. I thought to my right's the cross and to my left was the bus to take me back to rehab. And for the very first time in my life, I'd never done this. Addicts don't do this, but I changed my mind. Like, yeah, I thought to myself, what's going to happen? I know what's going to happen. Guaranteed I'm going to end up back in jail. I'm going to end up back in rehab. I could end up dead. I'm going to end up back with a heroin habit. But I didn't know what would happen if I just changed my mind and I went over and I got on that bus. And that day, for the very first time in my life, I made a different decision. I didn't get on, and basically I got on the bus. I went back to rehab, and one day at a time, one foot in front of the other. From that day, I lost the obsession and compulsions. After 17 years of fucking it up, 49 attempts at rehab, I would steal the television, I'd steal the petty cash box, I'd rob one of the clients, I would do anything to get on. Like that day I went back to rehab, and mate, I've got to admit, for probably 3 days later, I felt so anxious. I felt like I had failed because I was about to hand over the money. I knew I was fucked next week. Next time this happens, I'll definitely do it. But that dissipated, and basically a miracle happened Christmas Day 2009. I have never come close to picking up another drink or a drug. I lost the obsession, man. I'm not saying a miracle happened and it was easy, but I've worked really hard, but I have not had an inkling desire to fucking get on again since that day.
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
anyone hearing this, like, it was a miserable journey, as you've heard.
On
But
that
that
bus.
day, because I tried so many times and because I did something different, I'd heard a million times consequential thinking. Do it tomorrow. If you don't pick up the first drug, you can't get stoned. The first one does the damage. Blah blah blah. Well, it was true. I didn't pick it up, and that day my life changed forever, mate. Here I am today. 16
Love it.
plus years. Because of
Great.
that decision that day.
And what an amazing decision. And you made another huge, impactful decision not so long ago, actually, maybe 5 years ago, if I remember correctly. You made another decision never to work for anybody else again.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Why?
Quickly on that, on my birthday, on the 22nd of August, it must be fucking 2021 or 22, I'd been working in that same job, the rehab, for 10 years. I built an incredible career. I had so much money because I didn't buy drugs anymore. I bought a house. I traveled the world. So I'm saying that because I want to be clear. I'm giving that place the biggest shout out. That place gave me the life beyond my wildest dreams. But I also got the sack on my birthday on the 22nd of August.
Oh,
And it was because I had started doing social media stuff. And it's kind of a little bit like this. I hate to kind of admit this because I do try and be humble, but I was getting a lot of everyone thought I ran that joint. Everyone thought I owned the place, and not everyone, but um
yeah.
I did a video out the front of Parkley Prison. I was picking up a client, and the officers, I was going to call them the screws, the officers were quite rude. They said, yeah, he'll be out when he's out. I'm out the front waiting for hours. So I thought, I'm going to fucking record this. I'm going to do a video. And there was an officer hiding in his van up in the car park, and I zoomed in on him, and I said, this guy's just here. I was just pointing out some facts. He was hiding there. Be careful. I was talking about tennis balls coming over the fences when I was in prison. And I bagged out the officers for kicking me out the front and not giving a fuck about my client. And anyway, that video went viral. Like, it went fucking. It had like 10 million views within no time. And we were funded by Corrective Services, my rehab. And the Corrective Services are ringing my boss saying, who the fuck's this cunt out the front? Oh, excuse me, and the language. Who's this guy out the front, bagging out the prison system? And anyway, because of that, I was warned to stop doing my social media, and I didn't, and then I got the sack. But yeah, so I left that job, and I decided, you know what, I'm a very experienced individual. I have done lots of training. I got a community services certificate for diploma. I was at uni for 3.5 years doing a Bachelor of Social Science, a Bachelor of Counselling. I never completed that job. That's another story. I discovered I didn't want to know people's trauma. I'm way too sensitive for that. Anyway, and I thought, I'm going to start running my own groups. And that group I talked about on a Wednesday night, I started that 4.5 years ago. And between that, Encapsulator, I have an NDIS support work company also. I do motivation. I got my fingers in 47 pies, bro. I'm surviving.
And you're thriving.
And I'm thriving, man. Yeah.
There you go.
So
I love it.
I took it upon myself to just say, I'm never going to work for somebody else again. And I tell you what, like, it's the best decision of my life. Like, it really, really is. I know I'm blessed to be in this position, but like you said, mate, I've made this happen. I've worked hard, mate.
You certainly
I
have.
don't stop. A lot of the time, that breath thing I did last night at 8:20 before a meeting at 8:30 was because I work hard. I need to regulate. I need to look after myself too. But nobody became successful sitting on the couch.
Agreed. Mate, you're doing some wonderful things, and it's incredible to see the smile constantly, not only on social media, but you being present with me right now. And mate, it's just a beautiful, beautiful journey. I love it, and you're just so authentic about it. You make it humorous. You don't glorify it, but you still share it in a nice way that people can learn from you. Wow. And obviously, the things that you're giving to the world, people, you're helping people. It's become a purpose, hasn't it? And I do believe most people change their pain into a type of purpose. I know we hear that saying quite a lot, but I think it's real. I think people do turn it for good into something good, don't they?
They do, yeah. On that note too, I think there's definitely still so much suffering in the world around, like people in recovery. And to anyone who is, sober, years and they're still hurting. Like, this is quite bold. I just want to say, like, there's work to be done. Like, because if you don't start putting in the work, you will fuck up. And even if you don't fuck up, do you want to live this life? Like, I spoke earlier about we choose to be happy, and recovery is hard work. It's absolutely worth it, but there is no shortcuts. There's no loopholes. The only way to it is straight the fuck through it. And my message would be that if you're miserable at years in sobriety, you're missing something, and please find it, because you deserve better. You deserve to live an incredible life. There's so many different factors that I understand impact this, spousal relationships, the family courts. There's so many things I know that impact that happiness, but fix it, man. Fucking fix it.
Yeah, I do feel like even right now, and we'll go through it in future plans in a second before we close this episode down, but I think when we do find a space and the discipline, not motivation, discipline to fill the body with what we need, going back to what we had millions of years ago, sleep, good food, good movement, we were made to move. I think we do, inevitably things are going to go wrong. That's something we can't avoid. But I think if we are giving the body and mind what it needs, those things that we come across, we are able to deal with in a much healthier way.
Exactly.
And, look at what I shared before about what happened. I think the old me would have lost loads of sleep. I might not have turned to heavy things like what you've been through, but I would have lost sleep. Right. Even now, even like things me doing cold exposure, I noticed through self-reflection at night, I would have reflected about a conversation. I've gone, oh God, if they'd said that to me 5 years ago, I'd have lost sleep over that, and then all of a sudden I'm going, oh, it didn't bother me. Why is it not bothering me? It's because some of the little small changes I've made to help me.
It's true. It's a daily, like, one day at a time, one foot in front of the other. Like I said, there's no fucking shortcuts, mate. You need to put in the hard work every day. Keep moving forward, yeah?
Absolutely. Keep leading your own way, like the title of this podcast. You obviously do a lot of talking, you do a lot of public speaking, people ask you a lot of questions. I'm going to ask you maybe a difficult question, but what's a question, and I've asked this quite a lot recently on the most recent episodes, and I just love it. It's one of my favorite questions at the moment. What's a question you wish people would ask you, but they never do?
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna, and this is so like me, I never talk enough about Encapsulator. Okay, so the question would be like, why record video to your future self? And I mean, this is a little bit strategic. Thank you so much for asking me, but let me tell you, the power of video recordings to a legacy for future generations. Okay, Encapsulator literally creates a precious moment in time that would never have existed without my platform. Now, the reason I say it would never have existed is because we ask you questions to explore your thoughts and feelings in a private, confidential space. That right there, that precious moment might be something that you could share with your future generations too,
Agreed.
A problem shared is a problem halved. And look, yeah, man, Andy, honestly, my problem is, you know why I'm not a fucking billionaire with Encapsulator yet, is because I'm too worried about helping people. I always forget to plug me business. Thank God you asked me in the beginning, but, I wear an Encapsulator shirt. I reflect on it, but I never probably will talk enough about it. So that's what I would say. Encapsulator is available on iOS and Android. It's available on the App Store. Just download it. It's free to join. There is some point where you can subscribe to a small monthly rate. Start recording videos of love and hope to your future self.
Beautiful. Well, and that's why I wanted to spend some time on Encapsulator at the beginning, because I felt this is about viewers, taking things away from our conversation and putting it into their life, and that's why I really wanted to spend, and that's a big part of how you're leading your own way, and that's the big chapter at the beginning of the episode. Yeah, so I wanted you to spend some time on it. I really wanted to get to those nitty gritty, so absolutely plug away, and I'll even put the logo on the front cover of our album cover so people can see it, see what it looks like as well. Yep. Absolutely. All right, let's close it down because I know you've got a meeting. What are your future plans, Danny?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's if anyone looks at my social media, my Sober Squad page, I've got one. So I've got Sober Squad has got 400,000 members. But anyway, the banner of that picture has got, it says dream big, and it's got a picture of Manhattan in the background. So in 2027, I plan to have my Encapsulator office in Manhattan, mate.
Yes, I love it.
And
Manifest it.
It's just, yeah, it's manifested, but it's a statement, absolutely. Encapsulator was born in America, if you remember, I shared about in Manhattan talking about it. So, yep, it's like where dreams are made of. It's just part of my journey. So I'll have an office in Manhattan by 2027.
It's my favourite city. This is where the mic came from, a person I met in New York.
There you go.
So, yeah, it's my favourite city in the world. Yeah.
Wonderful, yeah.
If you could give one piece of powerful advice based on the topics we've discussed today, you've given gems throughout this episode, but if you could give one powerful piece to leave us on, what would it be?
Yeah, it's really simple. It's definitely what my message revolves around always. 49 attempts at recovery, okay? Never give up. I don't care how fucking low you are. I don't care how mad, bad. It doesn't matter how sad you are. You can do this. I felt defeated. I thought I could never get sober. I thought I could never do this. Look at me today. I'm sober a long time. I do live a life beyond my wildest dreams. I struggled for a long time. I never gave up. If I can do it, anybody can.
49 times, everybody. That is insane. We are human and we do get things wrong. Just quickly before I ask my final question, what is it that you do get wrong still, do you think?
Yeah, good. It's something I get wrong. Well, I guess it's not believing in myself enough,
Yeah. I think we all do that, don't we, at some point?
We do, yeah.
I'm the same.
It's something, it's one of those things that I do in my checkup from the neck up every night, the daily inventory, or if I was bagging myself, why am I doing that, Danny? Pick it up, because, we've got to believe in yourself. We want it. We're only on this earth for a certain amount of time. I need to do my best. But yeah, sometimes I do that. Not a lot, bro. I'm pretty kind and loving to myself, but it's definitely something I can fail at times.
Yeah, good. Great answer. Because I know everybody's feeling the same. We all feel it at some point, don't we? Your purpose is pretty clear, but I always ask the guest to finish off one powerful line of what that is. So what is your purpose, Danny?
To motivate and inspire individuals to live their best life through me sharing my stories around the social and emotional impacts that addiction can have on myself and your loved ones.
Beautiful. What a great way to end the show on, Danny. It's been an absolute pleasure. I think you know how I'm going to ask you to close this down. What am I going to ask you to make? What sound am I going to ask you to make, mate?
Meh.
Everyone, keep leading your own way. Have a great weekend. We'll be back next week for another amazing guest and their incredible journey. Take care. Have a great weekend. We'll see you then. Bye for now. We come to the end of another powerful episode. I hope you just got so much just from that ending as well. What an incredible dude. Danny, you're amazing. Thank you for doing what you do. I'm telling you, that's the kind of conversation that stays with you, That's because it's polished and because it's true. Danny's message is simple, but it lands like a brick. In a good way. Never give up. Not on yourself, not on your future, not on the idea that life can look completely different. Even right now, it feels impossible. One decision, one honest decision can change the entire direction of your life. If you got value from this, though, here's the call to action. Hit follow. Please subscribe, leave a rating, and share this episode where you can, because someone in your world might be quietly fighting a battle you can't see. And if Danny's story helped you, drop a comment. What's one decision you're making for your future self this week? Put that in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Have a great week. Keep leading your own way. And we'll see you next week for another amazing guest. We'll see you then. Bye for now. Thanks for listening and watching Leading Our Own Way. So we can stay together forever and share more incredible journeys, please subscribe to the channel. That way you won't miss next week's episode and what that amazing guest has to offer to the world. Please support Leading Our Own Way, and we'll get you on next week's episode.